Hi everyone, this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I wanted to share with you the curriculum that I'm going to use for my kindergartner this year. We're going to do a combination of Mater Amabilis and Catholic Schoolhouse. So first of all, welcome to my channel. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and share and comment below what you're doing for your curriculum for this fall. So jumping right into it, one of the things I love about Mater Amabilis is that it has a free curriculum. So if you go onto their website, it has free curriculums from preschool all the way up through 12th grade. And so we used a combination of Mater Amabilis and Mother of Divine Grace last year for preschool. And it was nice to have a free curriculum there. So I was kind of torn between what to choose this year because I loved both of the curriculum so much, but ultimately I chose Mater Amabilis to supplement Catholic Schoolhouse. Catholic Schoolhouse is a group, a homeschooling group that we are going to be a part of for the fall and the spring of this year, and it is 24 weeks throughout the school year. It is 1 day a week, and it's about 3.5 hours of school every week, and then there's a couple times where we're going to be doing field trips as well, which is not officially part of that school year, but it's just kind of fun extra things we'll do. But some people are using it as what they call the spine, or like the meat, the main part of what they're using for the schooling, and other people are using it as a supplement to their other schooling. So what we're doing, I'm just kind of gonna use both. Definitely we're gonna do everything that Catholic Schoolhouse assigns us, the memory work, what we do at home, what we review at home for the rest of the week. But I'm also gonna throw in this information from Mater Amabilis, and I'm gonna follow a lot of the things on here, but not everything. But I will share with you what each of those things are. So here is what a sample of the curriculum looks like for the first 6 weeks. So when this video comes out, this will be the first day that we are starting our homeschool for kindergarten. And actually, both of my daughters are going to be in Catholic Schoolhouse this year because they do it as young as 3 years old for the pre-K program. So one of them's going to be in pre-K, the other one's going to be in kindergarten. And I'm going to be part of my daughter's pre-K class, and I'm also teaching chorus. So that'll be fun because I'm actually a singer. I sing professionally, but then I also get to be in one of my daughter's classes with her. So for religious education, they have a recommendation to use the New Catholic Children's Bible. Now I have the Children's Bible, which I think this is the same one that Mother of Divine Grace uses, and I just didn't want to buy another Bible because I bought about 4 or 5 Bibles last year, and so I was like, I'm not going to buy another one. I'm just going to follow what they recommend reading each week, and it's the same stories, you know, whichever one you're reading. We also have another Children's Bible I have right here. This is what we used for Mater Amabilis last year, so I could use really either one. But the first week is saying God's creation of the world, Adam and Eve. So I'm going to follow along with that. And then Saints, it says My First Book of Saints, and you're just doing one saint story a week. And so I have a bunch of different saints books. We have this one here, which is more complicated, but then we have a couple other ones that are more on both my daughter's level, so we'll probably use that most of the time. And then for the liturgical year, it's saying Speak, Lord, I am listening, and it looks like it is going through each of the decades of the rosary. So the first week is all about the Annunciation, so I'm actually going to be using this one because we already have this book in our possession, so I'm just going to re-review it. We did this for preschool last year anyway. Mathematics, it's saying use a math program of choice or activities. And later on in the sample curriculum, they give you some ideas of that. Okay. And also at the top of the syllabus, it's showing you what a sample schedule might look like. So Monday, Bible reading, painting, break, number, handwork, geography and writing. And then it's different with each day. But then jumping to math, you see, okay, recommendations for kindergarten, 1 to 1.5 hours daily of education. Religion 4 times weekly for 10 to 15 minutes. Math daily for 10 minutes. History twice weekly for 10 to 15 minutes. Geography twice weekly for 10 to 15 minutes. Music appreciation weekly for around 10 minutes. Picture study weekly for around 10 minutes. Poetry twice weekly for 5 to 10 minutes. And story time daily for 10 to 15 minutes. We do way more than that for story time, so we're definitely good on that. And then I'm trying to find the math because they definitely, okay. They list some other resources here. Number and counting books. So One is One by Tasha Tudor. The Icky Bug Counting Book by Jerry Payota. Ano's Counting Book by Mitsumasa Ano. 10 Apples Up on Top by Dr. Seuss. Numbers and Art by Lucy Micklethwaite. I actually have that from the library right here. And I was going to go through that. That's later on in the curriculum. It is under picture study. So it's going through the whole alphabet on this. And so it goes, I think, through the first 26 weeks of the curriculum. It's going through this because it's going through every single letter, 1 letter per week. And then One Odd Day and My Even Day by Doris Fisher. Then 100 Hungry Ants by Eleanor J. Pinces. And then, let's see. Oh, there's even more resources for math. Counting with Stickers 1 through 100 by Kuman. A bunch of Kuman resources. Numbers 1 to 30, Write and White Flashcards, My Book of Numbers. 1 to 30, My Book of Number Games. 1 to 70. All by Kuman. My Book of Easy Telling Time, learning about hours and half hours. Family Math for Young Children. Let's Play Math, how families can learn math together and enjoy it. Math You Can Play Combo, Number Games for Young Learners, and the Oxford First Book of Maths by Rose Griffiths, which is what we actually have. We used this last year, and it's for ages 5 through 8. So some of the stuff is more advanced for my 5-year-old, but some of the stuff is definitely on her level. I guess that's what I'm going to be using for now. And then in Catholic Schoolhouse, there are some things that we're learning for math, but they said for the older kids, you are going to have to supplement for math. But I think at a kindergarten level, you could probably just use whatever they're using with Catholic Schoolhouse if you have that in your area. I can't find what I was looking for but I think for math, it's the same thing that they said for preschool. You could go right onto their Modernly's website and find out. But basically it's saying like counting songs, number games, cooking with your children is going to teach them math sometimes, just different things like that. And you can supplement with this or the other books they recommend. Ideally, I really want to do an outside math program. I want to do Right Start Math, but it is actually very expensive. So hopefully, eventually, I will get to use that because they have a bunch of great manipulatives, and you get to use it for several grade levels too, which is really great, but it's just that initial investment, which can be very expensive. Moving on to English, they recommend the phonics program of your choice if ready. And I have this book, which my mom actually used to teach me, and it's Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons by Siegfried Engelmann. But I am wondering if I should push that very much because I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you've had this experience or if you've heard from other people. I've heard from friends and I've heard from strangers, things I've read, that if you push reading too early in a child, it can backfire. And some people I know have waited until their child is older, like as old as 7, and they say that they're their best reader because maybe they were just really ready at that age and then it just really took off. And I've heard that they do that in countries like Finland and Norway. They just kind of wait. They don't even try to introduce that until the child is 7, math and reading. And they have great education over in those countries. So it just makes me wonder if I should wait even longer. My daughter loves being read to. Both of my daughters really love being read to. They love to learn and everything, but I definitely don't want to push it before they're ready, especially from hearing those experiences from other mothers that they've done it both ways. They've introduced at a normal age for one child and then introduced at a later age because they saw that one child needed to just kind of wait. And then the interesting thing is that they say that child is their best reader. So maybe it's worth it to wait a little longer. And I've heard that they do that in Waldorf programs. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys think in the comments about that specifically. For literature story time, there's 3 different classic books that are going to be read throughout the year, or series actually. The first series is Beatrix Potter, the complete collection, and the first week reading through The Tale of Peter Rabbit and The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin. And then I think later on in the year, we're moving on to Charlotte's Web. And then after that, moving on to the complete tales of Winnie the Pooh. So we own all 3. And then also on this list, if you still want to read even more, there are some other chapter books that they recommend. Happy Little Family, Happy Times in Noisy Village by Astrid Lindgren. Did you guys know that she is the same author who wrote Pippi Longstocking? Little Old Mrs. Pepperpot, The Millie Molly Mandy Storybook, My Father's Dragon, My Naughty Little Sister, A Bear Called Paddington, and The Children's Book of Virtues. And then there's optional extra reading picture books. There's a whole list right here. And we have most of those books, or we can get them at the library. And then poetry, my first Oxford book of poems is what they recommend. And I am going to use The Harp and the Laurel Wreath, or maybe a couple of other poetry books that we have, and just kind of choose a couple poems or one poem a week to just work on and try to memorize. I think that's what it's about, because Mother of Divine Grace, we, in the curriculum, it had her memorize different poems throughout the year. And then history, there's Turn of the Century, which I purchased. And it's going through the first week. It's saying, I think it's the year 1000, John, son of Stephen. And then it's just going to a different one each week. And let me see if it jumps to another one later in the weeks. Okay, later on, it jumps on to this book, Stories of Great Americans for Little Americans by Edward Eggleston. And the first one is saying A Great Good Man, Putnam and the Wolf. So 2 different stories. And then the next week it's Washington and his hatchet, and how Benny West learned to be a painter. For geography, the book is Children Just Like Me. And it's just going through different children and the cultures around the world. And it has really great pictures in here of the globe and of different children and things in their countries. And then around the world, I guess it kind of goes along with geography, and it goes through the continents of the world. So it's gonna be switching throughout each quarter, semester. So the first, let me see how many weeks. looks like 12 weeks. Yeah, the first 12 weeks are focused on Africa. So we have this one, how to make an apple pie and see the world. Then it goes through W is for world, around the world ABC. I'm not gonna go through every single title. We just purchased this one, The Day of Ahmed's Secret, so that'll be interesting to read. Then the next set of weeks goes through Asia, and there's different stories in there. Then it goes through Europe and South and Central America. And then it goes through nature study. Let me find this. Okay, so I didn't purchase everything that I needed because it was kind of expensive having to pay for Catholic Schoolhouse and then having to also pay for some more books to supplement, and then potentially also doing Right Start Math, which I would love to do. So some of the books we already have, as I said, but for nature study, I purchased this one. There is a set of 12 of these One Small Square books, and they're really awesome, by Donald Silver. And it's a small square of different nature areas. So this is a small square of your backyard. That's what it's focused on for at least the first 9 weeks. Then after that is the year at Maple Hill Farm, which we used last year for Mater Amabilis. And then it's moving on to Crinkle Root's Guide to Knowing the Birds and One Small Square Woods. And a friend of mine was getting rid of some of her homeschool books, and she had a nature notebook. I was like, oh, I would love to do that with my daughter. So I ended up grabbing it because it was barely used at all. And so that's something I'm gonna try to incorporate in nature study this year, is have her draw based on whatever the assignment might be, like maybe in the One Small Square, because there's different crafts you can do. And then finally, there is picture study in alphabet and art. I already showed you that. And music. The program they recommend is Making Music, Praying Twice. I think it's a set of CDs. And there is some for the fall, some for, I think it's Advent, winter. And then they have Lent, Pentecost, and Easter. I think there's an Advent one as well. So that's it for Mater Amabilis. And then I was just gonna show you really quickly Catholic Schoolhouse. This is the tour guide. They're on tour 3 this year. And so this is the 24 weeks, and this is the yearly overview. So there's 4 quarters, and they have history, science, religion, featured saints, classical languages, geography, math, language arts, and fine arts, including music and art. And so that is mainly what they're going through, and it's going through that as young as kindergarten. Well, you could even argue that the preschoolers are getting exposure to this as well, because they're incorporated into the program. There's a set of 4 CDs that we received as part of the materials, and that is part of the memory work that they're going to be working on at home. And then the history cards. There's like 120 history cards. I could show you maybe a couple. Let's see. There's Bach right here. And then looks like a stained glass. Well, actually it's Carlow Cathedral in Ireland, showing St. Alphonsus kneeling before the Most Holy Sacrament, created by Franz Mayer and Company, 19th century. And then on the back of these cards, it tells you about what that picture is all about. It'll be interesting to see how we actually apply all this knowledge, because this is our first year where we are, and it's very exciting to me. We'll be starting this week. Oh, and I forgot one other thing. for not Catholic Schoolhouse, Mater Amabilis. There's also the liturgical year, and they recommend different books using that with your family. And I really love this one. This is Catholic Mosaic by Kay Gibson. So we'll be starting in August, and I've tried to get some of these books at the library that we don't own, and some of them I'm just not able to get. Like the month of August, we have Juanita and Our Lady of the Angels. I wasn't able to get that even via interlibrary loan. And Brother Bartholomew and the Apple Grove by Jan Cheripko. I think I was able to get that. I'm kind of waiting on a copy for that. So we've never read that one. And then we've read this one over the summer. This is called Sister Anne's Hands by Mary Beth Lori Becky. This is what the book actually looks like. I was able to get that at the library, and that's a really great book. So there's different vocabulary that they pick out that you might want to talk to your child about in the book. So in here there's plaster, slunk, minister, and transfer. And then there's discussion questions, and there are the answers in there, thankfully, if you're not actually sure of the answer yourself as the parent. And then there's copy work if your child is old enough. There's just it's just usually a sentence out of there. So you could, if your child's old enough to write, you could have them practice that. And then there's an observation part as well, and an enrichment activity or activities. So I think it's important to especially do the enrichment activity, because that can incorporate crafts and art into your children's homeschool. I hope you guys have found this to be helpful. I hope you have a wonderful week, and may God bless you and your family.